If your company's doing 5, 10, 20 or more deals a year, does your Phase I environmental site assessment process need to look different than someone buying just one property? In this video, we're going to cover what actually changes when you're doing volume. And by the end, you'll know what to look for in an environmental partner instead of just a vendor. Hi, I'm Doug Ruhlin from RMA, your environmental experts. We work with M&A firms, lenders, and commercial real estate companies doing dozens of deals a year. And if that's you, we'd love to help. Just reach out. All right, let's get into it. Here's the short answer. A cheap, fast Phase I is sometimes fine when you're doing this only once. It stops being fine once you're doing it 10 or 20 times a year. Here's why. Say you buy one property and a cheap, fast Phase I misses something. An old underground storage tank nobody flagged, or contamination from whatever business used to be there. That's a bad day, but it's one bad day, one time on one deal. Over time, those shortcuts start to add up. It's not one deal maybe going bad once. It's the same shortcuts happening regularly, year after year. Roll the dice enough times and eventually something's gonna go wrong. Maybe some guy buying one property can afford to gamble on that. But a real company doing this year in, year out can't. The odds just aren't in your favor. What are the actual shortcuts? Well, maybe a cursory site visit instead of an actual detailed site inspection. Not talking to people who know the property's real history. Skimming bare minimum historical records instead of digging deeper until the picture's actually clear. In short, doing a shoddy job just to keep the cost low. But there's also the opposite problem. Firms who push you into more work than is actually necessary. You might get your Phase I back with a flagged concern. At that point, some firms are going to automatically recommend a Phase II. That means drilling, sampling, lab work, all of which can cost tens of thousands of dollars and take weeks or months, whether it's actually warranted or not. That's a judgment call. Is this a real risk worth stalling the deal over, or something that can be explained and documented instead? A firm chasing project revenue doesn't have much reason to draw that line carefully. In fact, they're usually happy to recommend that really expensive and time-consuming Phase II. Here's another way it costs you. Institutional lenders often have their own standards for what a Phase I report needs to include, and a weak one often gets kicked back. That's a redo, under a deadline, right in the middle of a closing, instead of catching it weeks earlier when you had the time. Now, here's something else worth considering. Phase I is built to catch contamination. Old spills, old tanks, stuff already in the ground. It's not designed to tell you whether the facility is operating legally right now. Permits, waste handling and management, that kind of thing. That's a different question entirely. Say you buy a business and it turns out they've been operating without a required permit. A Phase I didn't miss that. It was never meant to look for it, but you still own it. A violation, a fine, bad press, and scrambling to fast track the permit so you can keep running the place legally. Had you known going in, that's leverage, a lower price, or the seller taking care of it. Found out after, it's your problem. One more thing that only shows up at volume. If every deal goes to a different consultant, every report looks different. Different format, different level of detail. When your team's comparing risk across 50 properties, that's apples to oranges instead of apples to apples. And all of those problems are exactly the gaps we built RMA to close. Every Phase I gets an actual detailed site visit, a deep records review, and a Phase II recommendation only when the data calls for it. Not because it's extra revenue for us. We also offer that compliance check as an add-on to every Phase I, so you know if your facility is operating legally before you close. And if they're not, we can help them get into compliance and keep them that way. Your reports come back in the same format every deal from people who already know your risk tolerance and your lender's requirements. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to learn more about Phase I environmental site assessments, check out the links in the description to our Phase I ESA Learning Center at rmagreen.com. We've got articles, videos, tools, and plenty of other resources to help. If you want to know what it would cost to have RMA conduct your Phase I, try our Phase I pricing calculator. Just answer a few quick questions and get a price instantly. No email or sales call required. And if you want to talk to us directly, you can do that also at rmagreen.com. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.